Good day. And find somebody out there. I got something I want to say. This is for a particular niche, but I think that everyone will understand. And I want to talk specifically about calling it quits. Calling it quits. Be out there and wherever you are, let me know. Drop a comment or so. Everybody's having a great day. I don't want this to be something just sit around and wait for people to join. I got. All right, here they come. All right, so if you are if you're watching this, please tag somebody. I'm going to talk concept or the thought of calling it quits. Now, that in itself could probably shake people up, even from the standpoint of okay, talking about him calling it quits. And yeah, I'll say that but I will stop. I'm not a quitter, but I will stop. A half, 2 years, 3 to 3.5 years old, and he was having to call it stop. I guess I'm trying not to say quit, but he was having to stop actually having church on a Sunday morning, having to close the door. One of the reasons was people were not supporting as they initially started for the first year or so. And he was really very concerned about a few things. About other people who had supported him, me and Alicia being one, what their investment was. He was concerned about the shame of it. Many of his friends and colleagues knew about what he was doing. He was also concerned about his work ethic. If he actually worked hard enough. I hope this is better. Okay, thank you, Bo. I appreciate it. If he had worked hard enough, if he had worked hard enough in making this thing happen, it's a whole bunch. I don't know if you know or not, but Alicia and I, we're church planners, and that simply means when you take a concept for some, I say it's a call, a mandate, to go and to start something for the kingdom of God that measures up to what Acts chapter 2 says a church should look like. Not just Acts chapter 2, but even when we begin to read Paul's epistles, even some of the other authors of the New Testament. So let me try to make it a little clearer. So I was working in ministry. I served my father for 10 years. Salem Bible Church, I was the second man. My title was the vice pastor. And so after being there for 10 years, I start feeling this thing in my heart. I couldn't figure it out. It was one night that the Lord, it was April 12th, 2005, that God told me that my assignment was up. Y'all hear how that could be considered quitting, but it's really not. My assignment could be up, or that my assignment was up. Didn't know what I was going to do. It didn't take too long. God was calling us to start a church. We didn't know if marriage ministry was going to go far and wide. We're doing a lot of marriage stuff, and so I remember riding up and down the highways looking where is this supposed to go. Ended up planning a church January 8th, 2006 off Sugarloaf Highway. If you familiar with Atlanta, 85 North, exit 106. in the Gwinnett Arena. Now, I don't want y'all to get no ideas. The arena wasn't full, but they had some conference space there, and some rooms and so forth. So that's where we actually started. The called the arts something I can't remember. I can see it. I guess you could say I stopped. I stopped where I was and started to where God was taking me. Now I bring both of these up. It's not because I have forgotten what I started off saying, telling you my story. What I told you the story was, or my friend was about calling it quits or stopping. My story is starting. You can't have one without the other. Now, the start for us was big, it was beautiful, it was exciting, scary, but the end for him has been almost in some regards depressive. There has been the shame aspect that has flipped in or kicked in. This has been pretty hard. It's cost a toll on him emotionally and certainly financially. But let me tell you, this is why I wanted to go live today. I want to tell you that there's nothing wrong with quitting what needs to be quit. I think it would probably sound better if I said there's nothing wrong with stopping what needs to be stopped. The Bible is full of seasons. So a week and a half or so ago in Atlanta, I got a little lightweight quilted jacket when I walk outside to sit on my deck. Today, I had on, a pair of shorts and some short socks and sandals. I looked at the weather. The weather's going to be in the 80s over the next 7, 10 days. But we started seeing the start of fall about 3 weeks ago, about 2.5, 3 weeks or so ago. Fall is for sure coming, but it doesn't go from being 90 in the day to being 70 in the day. There is this transition. Seasons change. There was a song that Aretha Franklin and Bishop Paul S. Morton sang together. Seasons change. And in your life, really, beyond just church planners who've started churches, but in your lives, there are some things that you can attest to, that there have been some things that just stopped. They would no longer work anymore. What you had been doing and seek success in, it just wasn't working anymore. And then there are others of us who have started a thing, and we started with a sense of excitement and joy and a tickling in our heart that something big was coming. But you can't start something that you never stopped that was connected to each other. Are you understanding what I'm saying? I want to particularly talk to church planners right now, even though the principles go to anyone, but I want to talk to church planners right now and say, you did not do it wrong. You did not do it wrong. All right, let's be real. Some people start churches because they want to thumb their nose at their former pastor. Maybe they didn't feel like they got enough opportunity to preach or to be in ministry, that they weren't being called on enough, that they felt like they were being overlooked, or they felt like something was being dangled in front of them, or there was something that happened, one-on-one between them and their elder leader. So to get them back, I'll just go start a church. Typically that happens, the younger people are. Not that it doesn't happen to older people, but the wisdom in an older person begins to settle in season a lot more differently. So then they leave and they start the church and they split the church, and all this other kind of stuff happens. Even if that was you, even if you fall or fell into that category, it's all right. And some things you need to do to go back and get that thing right. First of all, you need to get it right with the Lord. You and God need to have a talk. Second of all, when you see where you have violated the responsibility you had that God assigned you to, your call, that there is something between your elder leader, you need to go to them. talk to them. And if you know what you did wrong, you need to apologize and get it right with specificity. You have to be specific. It's not one of those things, well, hey, look, I just want to say, and you beat around the bush. No, I'm sorry, I did such and such and I was wrong. But what you may not understand is that when you can wrap up a season right, you'll start the next season right. But if you leave a season wrong, you start a new season wrong. All right, so that's one now. That's one side. That if you left the wrong way, go and get it right. That says a lot about your heart posture, and it says a lot about your integrity. I challenge you to do that on today. See some of you all hopping in. It's good to see watch numbers go up. And please tag somebody. If you know a pastor or church planner, tag them. Let them know about this conversation it is that we're having. Now, God will sometimes give us hints in the natural that, you know what, this isn't quite what I'm supposed to be doing. I need to rethink some things. So, I've watched churches such as my friend dwindle and the hard decision to stop happen. I've watched some people work their tails off, and what used to work in growing a church, it's not happening no matter how many church conferences they go to, no matter how many online, whatever it is that they go to, any of those kinds of things, no matter how much harder they try to work, it just won't work anymore. And can I tell you, that's all right too. I can't help but to think about Elijah. God sends him from a famine. The season that he was in was wrapping up, and God has him move to a brook where God says, you will be sustained. Now watch this. If he was still in a famine where he was and where he was going, a famine was across the land. But if he had stayed where he was and not followed the voice of God, he would have died of the famine. My goodness. But because he listened to what God was saying and God gave directions, he showed up in the same place where there was still a famine, and he showed up there, and it was there that he was fed, that he was nourished, and that he got his water. I want to tell you, in the days of this church space that we're seeing and worship leaders, being called out by pastors, and then the conversations continue to Instagram and to Facebook and all this kind of stuff in the world of what's going on. All the major stuff, all the minor stuff, and everything in the middle. All the exposure, all the cover-ups, all the whatever. Church is starting to really look differently. And could it be that God is calling you to be a part of what the change of the church is starting to look like? It is my sincere belief that one way or the other, we are going to end up in an Acts chapter 2 situation where we're in the homes, matter of fact, this upcoming weekend, we have a gathering at a dear member's church. A dear member of our church, we're gathering in her home. Several of us are getting together, fellowship to eat. And I got a word for us. Word will be delivered differently. I ain't gonna have no pulpit. It's not that kind of house church. We'll sit around casually, have conversation, and see whatever else the Lord wants to happen. I'll tell you something. I have been provided for more these past 18 months since we stopped having Sunday morning services. I've been provided for more. I've had more opportunities to come. I've had more phone calls. I've had more reach. I've had further reach. A couple of pastors over in Pakistan. I've been provided for more. Every bill is paid. Lights on, as you use the internet, the mortgage. God has provided for us more than I could have ever imagined. But the reason why is because we're in the middle of God's will. My wife and I believe that we stand 10 toes down in the middle of God's will. What are you not quitting? What are you choosing not to stop, even though God has said stop? Even though you know you're not supposed to keep going, but you're so bullheaded and dogged determination, you dig your heels into the ground and continue to watch everything kind of tumble down beside you. We're gonna stop. As I'm watching other churches close their doors and other pastors doing different things, I'm grateful that the Lord has called me into the mental health space. I'm a mental health care advocate. I want to speak on behalf of those, particularly Black men who have been underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed. I am one of them, but also speak to men who deal with everyday issues such as depression and anxiety, and even those that have more heightened mental health issues. That's what my call is because of my journey of 27 plus years. It's what my doctorate is in, what my DMin, what I'm getting my doctorate in. That's my passion. And what I realized, and what I'm actually even seeing, is that I'm having further reach as a mental health care advocate than I would have had. I got to come back. Make sure, hold on, I got to write this one down because I want to come back to something. Hold on. Now, watch how God coupled a thing. He took what I was doing. I've been preaching since I was 9 years old, 53, just turned 53, Monday a week ago. He took what I've done my entire life, preach. He took my experience, 30 years or so, as a pastor. But then parallel to that pastorate, to 27 years of dealing with mental health issues. And then he marries them? What kind of God is this that is so specific, that is so clear, that is the perfect alterationist, the perfect tailor, to where he stitches this tapestry together from my life for me to be in the space that I'm in? But I never would have known. Lisa and I had not spent January, the entire month of January, 2025, or excuse me, 2024, praying. We did not have Sunday morning service. We weren't streaming live. We were not re-record. We were pressing our ear to the Lord's lip, and it was from there that peace came. From there that we begin to understand, okay, God's got more. Now, actually, if I'm true about it, there have been some rumblings in my spirit, probably over the past, they would increase over the past 4 or 5 years. I start feeling, matter of fact, I remember standing up in our church. I said, we're going that way. That was a year's theme. You know, the Holy Spirit is moving, and this was before COVID. And I started pointing, we're going that way. I went back and looked at the map. The map was where we actually landed. Wow, right? Only God stuff. But let me also tell you, God is waiting for some of y'all to quit some churches, some ministry that it is that you're doing, and start something else. Now, I've been privileged, my wife and I both have been privileged to sit front row of Spirit and Truth. My wife's a member. I'm a supporter of that ministry of Spirit and Truth Church, and Pastor Mark Moore Jr. I'm sitting there watching the grace of God explode that church. 5 Sunday morning services. I've watched that happen. Watch. So while other churches are being called, and other pastors and ministry are being called to stop a thing, here God is placing a grace on a thing. It's not just Pastor Moore and Spirit and Truth. Love y'all, fam. It's not just them, but there are churches around the United States that are blowing up. All right, so I don't know what the latest announcement is, but I'm going to go on record to say that whatever Joel Tutman does, If it's in the space of church or ministry, it will blow up. It has that grace on it. It's been demonstrated. God is calling not everybody to quit. God is calling some people to start. And hear the principle. I'm not just talking about church planters or pastors. If you know a pastor, tag them on this, wherever it is that you're watching, tag them so they can go back and hear what it is I'm saying. I don't know, maybe your tag could end up being their deliverance from what it is that I'm talking about. But it's the principle. It's the principle of what I'm talking about. If it's time for you to stop your job, stop your job and launch out and start something else that God has been placing in your heart. I just had a spiritual father. I respect this man. There's nobody I respect more than the man I'm giving redress to. Just wrote a newsletter saying that he's shutting his ministry down. He had a marketplace ministry. He wasn't pastoring a church. In a marketplace ministry. He says he's shutting it down. This man, all of his teachings literally changed our lives, saved us. He's around the world. I said, it's over. But here's the thing. God won't tell him what's next. God has no responsibility to tell you what your next assignment is for him. Some of us, he will. Some of us, he won't. He won't. I wish y'all could see this, but right up here on my wall, I'm gonna wrap this up. I got all those. See in the back the pictures and so forth, and I've got a couple of other printed graphics. And what we held on and embraced to at the church was our slogan, our tag. Not about religion. We're all about relationship. I've been saying that for probably since 2000 and starting 2006, probably since 2007. It's about relationship. Here it is, and I'm done. No matter what category you fall into, marketplace, ministry, name it, whatever it is, whatever your profession is, your job title. God is about having relationship with you. It's not about religion. Religion is the form and the fashion. It's okay. I gotta wear. It's no shade to anybody. I gotta wear white gloves, a black suit. All the deacons gotta wear the same colored tie on Communion Sunday. That's religion. And I want to add, there's a difference in uniformity and religion. But religion will allow you to still be a wretch undone throughout the course of the week, even though you got on your uniform. Relationship, that's where God is calling you and is calling me. I don't care who I'm looking at on the other side of that thing. God is calling us to have a relationship. And the most beautiful picture I can think of is the relationship that God started with Abram. Abram wasn't Father Abraham, had many sons had Father Abraham. I'm one of them. You are too, so let's just praise the Lord. Right foot, left foot. It wasn't that Abraham, it was Abram who was worshiping false gods. God interrupts and invades his space. Says, Abram, come go with me to a place I'll show you. Abram had to quit a thing so he could start a thing. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Y'all still in here with me? Let me see if I got anything I need to respond to. Good word. Thank you. Hey, Prof. Hey, it's good to see you. John Frank, what's up, cuz? Mr. Bo, thank you for that call. All right. So it was good spending a little time with you. And pray that you seriously consider this. Don't forget, tag another pastor or ministry worker or even a friend Hope y'all heard that my playground was about pastors and church planners, but the principle applies to anybody that is moving from one place to the next. All right? Till later. No, this is for Katie Bo. All right, y'all take care.